to the Pretzels Leukemia channel. Today we're making pretzels.
So that's right, as she said, we are making pretzels. It is Easter weekend, so you probably just saw our last video where we dyed Easter eggs, and now we are making homemade soft pretzels. Why, you ask? Well, we are having a small Easter gathering, just my father-in-law and then my husband's siblings, and that's it. It also happens to be Lexi's birthday, and he did not want a big Easter meal. He just wanted some fondue. And I have a fondue pot, and I have a good knockoff recipe for the melting pot beer cheese fondue that I'm gonna make. But he really wanted some stuff to dip with it, like French bread, and pretzels are a good thing to dip in cheese. So we are going to make the pretzels that get dipped into the fondue, and I'll tell you, it is so super simple to make pretzels. So let's get started, all right, Lex?
Yeah, let's get started.
All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is, can you hold this up and show them what it is? It's kind of warm, so be careful. We have 1.5 cups of warm water. And we are going to take this and dump it directly into our mixing bowl that goes on my stand mixer, all right? So you're gonna dump it in there, okay? Oh. That's all right, we got some paper towels, just in case.
Yeah. Always make sure you have paper towels.
If you make a little bit of a mess with kids cooking, it is okay. The memories are what counts in my mind. I'm just happy that Lexi is doing so much better and feeling like getting back in the kitchen and helping me again. So, after you have the 1.5 cups of warm water in there, all you have to do is dissolve the sugar, salt, and the yeast in there. The sugar will feed the yeast. If you put just salt in there, it would kill it. So you need that sugar to feed the yeast. So I've been using this big jar here. Sometimes I get the packet. So it's either 1 packet, or if you use the jar of yeast, it is 2 1/4 teaspoons.
I want to.
Yep, so I will give them to you, and then you will put them in, okay? So we need 2 of these yellow ones, so we need 1. So you're gonna dump that in the bowl. Good. And we need 2, because these are teaspoon measures, and we need 2 1/4 teaspoons. Dump it in there.
Dump.
Good. And then we need 1/4 of a teaspoon, which is that little one, and dump it in there. Very good.
Where should I put this?
I'll take it. Thank you. Now, the next thing we're going to do is add in 2 tablespoons of sugar, which I have already measured out. So this yellow bowl here is 2 tablespoons of sugar.
I dump it in.
Go ahead. Good. Oh, a little bit stuck to the bottom, didn't it? Okay.
It doesn't want to.
And then we have 1 teaspoon of salt, which is this one. So you're just going to dump the salt in there and hold on to the sides. There you go. Great job. Perfect. Now that all that is in there, I am just going to give that a little shake to kind of mix up the ingredients. Take my little spoon here and just kind of
Can I help?
stir that. Go ahead. You can stir it a little bit. Just use that to stir. All right, that's it. So now we are gonna let this mixture sit here and bloom for a bit. It's gotta, like, the yeast will get all bubbly and you'll be able to smell it. So we'll see you in about 5 minutes. Well, it's been about 5 minutes, and I don't know if you can see, but our mixture is getting kind of bubbly as everything is dissolving, and you can really smell that yeast. And so it is time to add the rest of our ingredients. That's right, flour. That's the only other ingredient that you need for right now is 4 cups of flour. So I'm gonna have Lexi scoop in the flour bit by bit. So she's gonna use this 1/2 cup measure, And we're just gonna add about a cup to start, and we're gonna start kneading everything, and then keep adding the flour bit by bit until our dough is smooth and elastic. So go ahead, Lex. You don't need it on your hands. You gotta scoop just a little. Don't. There you go. Dump it in there.
Dump.
Scoop some more.
Bit by bit. That's
Yep.
enough. Okay.
Here, let's give it a good tap to get all that off there. There you go. Here. Scoop out. You want to scoop out enough. There you go. Now dump that in there. Now let's do another scoop like that. Big scoop.
Big scoop.
There you go. Perfect.
And do this.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to dust my dough hook in this flour. And I am going to put this on, and we are going to start out. Nope, that's good for now. We are going to start out on the slowest speed. This says stir. And we are going to let this incorporate. If you wanted to, you could really dirty up your spatula hook thing on this, and you could put the spatula one in first, the paddle mixer. But I don't particularly care to dirty up all of my attachments, so I just kind of let the dough hook do its thing and then scrape down the sides, or you could use a spatula and stir it together, whatever you prefer. Alright, now we're going to add in
More sugar.
more flour.
Oh yeah, it's definitely
Dump it in.
turning into.
Alright,
Pull it off. I'm going to do it.
yep, dump it in. Very good. So we're just going to keep adding the flour a little bit at a time, and then eventually our dough will be all done.
And then we roll it out.
We'll have to let it rise. Alright, our dough is all done. We kneaded it, maybe 5 to 7 minutes tops. You basically just want to knead it until it's smooth and elastic. There you go, Lex. Is it heavy?
No, it's not heavy at all.
It's not heavy at all? Alright, so let's move the mixer out of the way.
It's pretty sticky.
It is just slightly tacky. You don't want it super sticking to your hands, but you don't want it super dry either. So if it's still slightly tacky, you're good to go. So basically what you're gonna do is you are gonna let this rise for an hour. Hopefully by then it'll be about double in size. And then that's where the fun part comes, where you get to roll out your pretzels. So all we have to do,
It's putting in the bowl.
yep. And this recipe that I found,
I want to do it.
all right, I'll do it, and you hold the bowl up for me. Can you hold the bowl up for me with both hands?
Both hands.
Mm-hmm. You holding it?
I'm holding it.
All right. You want to grease your bowl really well, and then you're going to stick the dough in there for me, Lexi. Just plop the dough right down in the center, yep. And then we're going to spray a little bit of the top. You can use whatever spray you like. You can use real olive oil. I've got this spray, but sometimes I'll use real olive oil. And then we are going to take some plastic wrap and cover over the top.
Really? Why is it not silver?
We're not using aluminum foil, baby. This is plastic wrap.
Oh.
All right, there we go. So I have already preheated our oven to 400 degrees. And I usually like to set my dough on top of the oven where it will get a little heat, and we're gonna let this rise for an hour. And I should mention, I scoured online looking for a copycat Auntie Anne's pretzel recipe because when I was in college, there was an Auntie Anne's on campus, and oh, that was my weakness. I love their buttery soft pretzels. So this is good, and you can leave it without the melted butter brushed on top at the very end, but if you brush that melted butter on top, oh my goodness, that tastes just like an Auntie Anne's pretzel. So you can do it either way, but if you're gonna do it for fondue, you don't necessarily have to. But anyway, so let's get this rising, and then we'll see you in an hour. We are back. It has been an hour. Our dough has risen to double in size. Look at that.
Wow. It's so ginormous.
It's so ginormous.
And it's so sticky. We need some flowers on our hands.
We will in just a minute, won't we? So here's what we're gonna do.
It smells so good.
We are gonna take just a little bit of flour.
And sprinkle it everywhere. Well, not everywhere. Well, just a little.
And then you can use some of that and just put your hand in if you want. That's good. Now, I have this handy dandy little thing that I got from a French Pampered Chef's party. And it shows you how long you need to make your ropes so that you can make the pretzel. And then the coolest thing about this is it has the thing for you to dip your pretzels in. So you put it on here and then you lift it up and then you submerge it in your baking soda and water solution. So you need 2 cups of warm water and 1/4 cup of baking soda, and you dissolve that into a bowl, and then you're going to submerge your pretzels in that for a few seconds before putting them on a greased cookie sheet, and I line mine with tin foil. So the first thing we're going to do is flip this out on the board and then put a little flour on top of it.
So when we touch it, hands don't get stick together.
Right. And then depending upon which dough recipe you use, you're going to try to cut this into about 8 to 12 triangles. So you don't have to press it out super big. You're just going to leave it kind of round. Let me see if I can show you. Like that. So let me turn this down so you can see what we're doing. So we are going to just take our little bench scraper with a little bit of flour on it, and I'm literally just going to cut this like I would if I was cutting a pie or a cake.
Or I guess it's like cutting my pizza in a straight line.
Yes, or like if you were cutting a pizza.
Yeah, like one of my.
And I'm going to see how many I can get out of this. I should at least be able to get 8. And if they still look super big, I can always get more.
They do look kind of big still.
Okay.
Here comes the. It looks like it says cutting a. It looks like a pizza.
Yeah, kind of does.
Like those are like the spices and.
Okay. Once you've cut it out into circles, you are going to separate each one individually. Sure. So we're just going to separate these. Try to make sure it doesn't stick to the table. Yep, like that. Put it over there. Okay. Now we have all these separated. So let's set some off to the side, and we're going to get some flour, and we're going to take one, and you're basically going to make sure it has plenty of flour on it, and you're going to form it into a log, and then we're going to roll it out into a rope, and it needs to be 15 inches long, so as long as this. Because 15 inches will make it this size of pretzel. So you're basically making just a large pretzel. If you make your ropes a little thinner or smaller, then it won't be as big. Or you could take and cut your ropes like into little bite-sized nugget type pieces, and you could do that as well. We've done that before and then stuck them in the freezer for a snack. So basically, you start in the center with your hands, right, Lexi? So you're gonna make it into a thing like that, and then put it down on the table. And then you just roll in the center, and then as you roll, you move your hands towards the edge, see? So you start in the center with your hands rolling, and then you move out towards the edge. So you start in the center, see how Mommy's doing it? And then you roll out towards the edge, and you can kind of pull it a little bit as you go to keep shaping it.
Or you can just do like I'm doing it.
And you kind of just want to make sure that it's all an evenly formed rope, because otherwise you're going to get parts of your pretzel that's bigger than the other and it will cook unevenly.
It's flat when I roll it sometimes.
The nice thing about this little thing from the Pampered Chef, not sponsored by the way, but I like it, is because it gives you the directions on what to do. And it shows you how to follow the arrows and then cross the middle so you can do a little twist so it'll stay together.
Why did you even make up pretty far?
So I'm going to check my rope, and my rope is long enough. So that's what we're going to do first, is get all of our ropes long enough. You want some help?
I want some help.
Okay. So Lexi got a good start to hers. Why don't you start the next one for me? You can start them for me and I'll finish them. How about that? So basically what I like to do is I like to really quickly make all of my ropes. You don't want to let the dough dry out, so you want to try to get it fast, kind of like an assembly line going, because then once you're done, you can just make all the pretzels real fast and start dunking them. You just don't want your dough to dry out. All right, we are all done. We have our ropes of dough. Now it is time to actually form the pretzels. So basically, that's what I love about this little thing. And it actually folds up for easy storage. So it sits on top of this, right? And what we're going to do is it has little arrows for us. You can see, you put your rope across this bottom piece where the arrow is going either direction, and you put that in the center of the rope, and then you wrap it around because it's going to crisscross, and you can do a little twist and then press it together at the ends. And then once you have it made, then what you do is it lifts right off of this, and it will fit perfectly into your baking soda bath. And so remember, this is 2 cups of warm water and 1/4 cup of baking soda. Just dissolve the baking soda as best as you can and make sure your water is nice and warm. And then we'll just submerge them for a few seconds. All right, so here we go, Lex. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick this one right there and try to make sure you have it even, which we do. So then what you're going to do is you're going to follow the arrows, see? So the arrows say to go this way. All right.
They want us to go.
And then our arrow says
Go downward.
this.
It looks like a pretzel already.
Yep. So then what we're going to do, so the edge of that is a little big. If your ends are a little big, you can squeeze them out a little smaller. Just stretch out your rope a little bit. So then you wrap it around here. Then you wrap the other one around. And then what I like to do is you do a little twist. So we crisscrossed the rope, see? Twisted it. We did one little twist so that way it will stay together. And then you kind of just pinch it onto the top like so.
So it stays like that.
Yep. And then, this was our thickest dough, so this one's going to be a little thick. You pull it off that, and what we're going to do is we are just going to submerge this whole thing into our warm water. And you want to make sure that it gets covered on all the sides, front and back, so you just make sure to let it slide off the thing and press it down in there a little bit. And then once you've submerged it, you use this to lift it right up off of there.
It smells pretty good.
Yep. And then once you've let some of the excess water baking soda mixture drip off, I just always like to double check that my holes are nice and reformed. Then I'm going to slide it off
And then put
onto my greased cookie sheet.
And it has flour on it. So it looks good.
So then I am going to, what I do is I just take a little towel.
Just wipe it off.
Just wipe off any excess moisture.
I want to do one now.
And we are going to start that whole process all over again. All right, and this is our last pretzel.
Yeah, it is.
So, put it through, give it a twist,
Twisty twist.
press it down real good,
Press, press, press.
and then
Wow.
put it in the baking soda bag.
Baking soda bath. I love bath.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
And all we got, and now I'm gonna take a bath.
You will take a bath tonight, don't worry.
Yeah, we're gonna take a bath, cause I probably got into lots of flour when we were putting it on pans. So we're gonna take a bath.
All right. So we have everything all done. All right, let's stop that. So let's move this out of the way and clean up a little bit of our flour.
Don't forget to wipe our hands.
We're not done yet. All right. So all we have left now is to top the pretzels. And you use coarse salt. So I'm just going to use kosher salt. So what we've got here
Is it egg yolk?
Yeah, this is pretty much just a regular plain old egg wash. So this is just a little bit of egg and water mixed together. And then we're just going to take a brush and brush over the tops. This is going to do two things. Let me show you and then you can do it, okay? This is going to do two things. It's going to help the top become nice and golden brown. But it's also going to help the salt stick. I mean, because the baking soda water mixture kind of seeps into the dough, so it is a little bit sticky, but this will just make sure that that is really secure on there. All right, so watch. So see what I did? I just dipped it in there just a little bit, just like you're painting. And then you're gonna you want to make sure that you've coated the entire pretzel in a thin layer, not a thick layer. And then when you're done, your pretzel will just look a little bit yellow on top. And then once you've done that, you just flip open this and you get way at the top here. And you just sprinkle a little bit of kosher salt on the top. All right, you ready to try? Perfect. Now you're going to take the kosher salt. Here, what I'm going to do is pour some in the palm of your hand. So just one palm, and you can sprinkle it with the other hand, okay? All right, so we have these all done. We have brushed them with our egg wash and salted them, and they are going to go into our preheated 400-degree oven for 18 to 20 minutes, or until you see the tops turn a nice deep golden brown color, like you remember a pretzel to be, like when you go to the ballpark and get a big soft pretzel. So we will see you in about a half an hour. We are back. The pretzels have come out of the oven. Look at that. They are looking golden brown and delicious. We let them cool just a little bit before I pulled them off of the pan. And you can still kind of see some of that steam coming out. So The rest of these are going to be for tomorrow's fondue for Easter, but
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Lexi, we thought, let's blow that off a little bit. We thought maybe Lexi might want to try a bite. Mmm.
I love the inside, so good.
What do you think? Delicious? These are so good. So good. Now, you can leave them like this, or like I say, you can brush them with melted butter. If you brush them with melted butter, that's more of the Auntie Anne's flavor of pretzel. And if you leave them with out the butter, that's more of like a pretzel you would get at a stadium. So, we hope you enjoyed this little video. Whoop, and I dropped some. Of making homemade soft pretzels at home. What do you want to tell everybody, Lexi? Nice and loud. What do you want to tell them?
Stop chewing first. Stop chewing first.
Oh, yeah, you need to stop chewing first, don't you? Because we don't talk with our mouth full, right?
Subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see more Lexi Kimmy Warrior videos.
Thanks for watching.